Well, California fires are worse than ever. There have already been more fires and more acres burned so far this year compared to the same time last year. Let's bring in former Fremont Battalion Chief and former FEMA presidential appointee Mark Neveau. And Mark, I just want to run through some numbers because it really does put things into perspective. From the beginning of this year to July 4th, nearly 4,600 fires have scorched about 115 square miles. Incredible. Now, in the same time frame last year, there were about 1,000 fewer, or nearly 3,850 fires, 49 square miles burned. We know that last year ended up being a disastrous fire year.
Yeah.
I mean, when you hear those numbers, what is it looking like for this fire season?
I think it's going to be a long year for firefighters and people involved in wildfires in California, no question. Add to all of what you just said, arson arrests are alarmingly high as well. So all of that combination can make this a very difficult fire year, Heather.
Yeah, we know we've got tender, dry conditions out there. We're dealing with the drought. CAL FIRE, obviously, Mark, well aware of this. What preparations are being made to deal with what is likely to come?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, this is the yin and the yang in the wildfire season in California for CAL FIRE and the governor in particular. Because of COVID-19, they've allowed what's known as honorary prisoners who typically work hand crews for wildfire season. A lot of those folks have been let out of the prisons because of COVID-19, so the number of hand crews are alarmingly low. What they've done to counter that is hire additional firefighters, hundreds of them, which is good news, but it takes them time to ramp up. They've also taken delivery of 4 or 5 specialized, very high technology helicopters, which is going to help them. They're also training California National Guard soldiers to be hand crew members. All of that in preparation for what's going to be a very difficult year.
Yeah, obviously they're trying to put all of the right pieces in place here. I want to talk, though, a little bit, Mark, about those new helicopters, because this is some really incredible technology.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. The new helicopters carry double the amount of water. They fly faster. They've got great technology in them that allows them to do night operations. Now, in Southern California, firefighters have been doing night operations. Northern California, not so much. And that's a great time to get headway on fires because it's cooler. The fires are moving slower. So now that they have these new helicopters, night operations, quicker access, more water should be very helpful.
Yeah, and there's other technology, too, that they're considering, right, Mark?
It is. It's kind of interesting. They're partnering with Lockheed Martin, which is a well-known corporation in America for sure, but they're looking at artificial intelligence. And there's even discussions, although it's a long way off, having these helicopters be pilotless. Now that's, again, a long way off, but just think about the technology. They also have technology that allows them to forecast fires better. Much better than they've ever been able to do. And that's key when you're trying to put a plan in place to combat fires is where do you put resources and troops? How far out ahead of that fire? Technology will help them do that.
Yeah, we obviously know that planning is really important here, but I want to go back to this idea of a pilotless helicopter. Obviously, you know, you mentioned that we are still a ways off from that, but talk about the advantages that something like that could bring to the firefight.
Yeah, I think it is a long way off. First off, you've got to make sure you can fly in difficult and dangerous conditions. The pilots who fly these helicopters are very talented, so I don't see that in the near future. But the thought that that could take place, it certainly makes it safer. Night operations and flight operations over wildland is a very dangerous, precarious position. So to have less people put in danger, all the better. Maybe it gets down to instead of 2 people or 3 people in a helicopter, flying the helicopter, maybe it gets down to 1. So, resources can be spared. But still, these helicopters do an awful lot of transporting of personnel. Hand crews, getting them into tight, deep canyons, areas that they're trying to get to fires, keep them small enough before they break out. So I don't think a pilotless helicopter is going to be able to do that anytime soon.
Yeah, probably not. But it is certainly interesting that that's something that they're looking at. All right, Mark Neveau, really appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you.
You're welcome, Heather. Have a good night.
You too.